I want to say this kind of disclaimer. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody, okay? I didn't want it to be for me. What's going on, y'all? My name is Vannesia Darby, and I'm a marketing consultant, and I'm also a full-time digital marketing manager in my 9-to-5 jobs. And this video is going to be another video in the Changing Careers or Careers series. So if you haven't watched the rest of the playlist, go ahead and get into that. Because I'm talking about the transition in and out of entrepreneurship. If you're full-time and you're going into entrepreneurship, or if you're in entrepreneurship and you want to go back into the corporate world, you can do both, okay? You can have it all. Or if you're building a parallel career, you're doing both at the same time, like you can do that. But here's some questions that I got about how to make that transition. One thing that someone asked me is, how do I use the transferable skill sets that I have now to go into entrepreneurship? I want to say this kind of disclaimer. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody, okay? I didn't want it to be for me. My business was supposed to be a grad school temporary thing, and I look up and we almost 7. Like, how'd that happen? But entrepreneurship is not for everyone, and you want to make sure first and foremost that it is for you. It is a lot of late nights, early mornings. It's not as glamorous and sexy as people make it seem. Like, be your own boss. Da, da, da. You have to go get the food to eat, or get the money for the food to eat. You have to make sure that you do that and that you're in control. I'm not trying to scare anybody away from it, but I think we've had this like glamorous lifestyle entrepreneurship has really come into the game, and that's great. I'm not knocking it, but I don't want people to step into entrepreneurship to think that it's as easy as it is. So with that disclaimer, let's hop into the tips. So the first thing that you want to do is, if you're starting your business around something that you already know is a need, like for me, I was a social media manager for years. I know people need social media, right? So I was able to look at comparable job descriptions and see what skill sets are needed for a social media manager, or a digital marketing manager, or a content manager, or a content director, or a creative director, right? I was able to get the language and to grasp what people were needing in this industry. So that's what you want to do. Look into a field and see how are people using the language, what are people already doing, and really, they call it market research, but really do your research. Like, I'm not just saying Google. Really delve into what people are doing and what skills are needed. There are certain things that may be needed for different professions, like certifications or licensures and stuff like that. I don't know all of that, depending on what your field is, but you need to know that and to make sure that you have those things already lined up. And if not, make your job pay for them, okay? Before you leave, make sure you get an extra certification or 2. The second thing you want to do is to literally make a list at what skills that you already have and what skills that you need. And that's going to be based off of the findings that you got from step number 1. So after you do your research, what do? Take that data and actually move it to information. How are we going to use it? If you have all these skills on the left-hand side of your paper, but what's necessary for your industry is on the right, and you coming up short a little bit, that means you need to close that gap, which is really step number 3. Figuring out what skills you need and what skills that you already have, and closing that gap. And so sometimes entrepreneurship can be really more so a mind game, right? Like, it's not necessarily, do I have all the skills? Because you're never going to have 100% of everything. A lot of entrepreneurship is learning on the fly, or having mentors, or hopping into courses, or hopping into a webinar, whatever. But you got to have a good handling on what you can do and what can go into other industries. And then there are some things, and I recommend, I'm just going to put a plug out here, I recommend my Get Your Business Together program. There are some things foundationally that you're going to need: an LLC, an EIN. If you don't know what these letters are, hop into my course, okay? There are gonna be some things that you just need for the foundation of your business. And so you may not know all of that, but what you need to know is the skills that you have and the skills that your industry needs, and how you can marry the two. All right, so thanks so much for tuning into this video. I hope that it helped you. If you have any questions, hit that comment box down below and I'll be sure to get to them. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your week, and remember to always speak life. Peace.